It all started on a quiet, unremarkable evening in the small town of Eldridge. The air was crisp, and the sky was filled with stars that twinkled faintly above the dense forests surrounding the valley. Life in Eldridge moved at a slow pace, untouched by the chaos of big cities or global politics. People went about their routines. Children played outside until dusk, families gathered for dinner, and neighbors exchanged pleasantries as they walked their dogs. No one could have guessed that this peaceful night would mark the beginning of an event so extraordinary it would change humanity forever. High above the earth, something stirred. For centuries, an alien fleet had been observing the planet from the shadows, hidden behind layers of advanced cloaking technology. These beings, known as the Vrin, were a highly intelligent species with technology far beyond anything humans could imagine. They had watched humanity evolve from primitive tribes to a civilization capable of space exploration. At first, the Vrin saw no threat in these fragile creatures who fought among themselves over land, resources, and ideologies. But as time passed, they grew uneasy. Humanity's rapid advancements in science and weaponry alarmed them. The Vrin believed that if left unchecked, humans might one day pose a danger not only to themselves but also to other civilizations across the galaxy. The decision to invade Earth wasn't made lightly. The Vrin leadership argued for weeks before agreeing on a plan. Their objective was simple: neutralize the human threat before it became unstoppable. Using their cloaked ships, they positioned themselves strategically around the planet, preparing for a swift and decisive strike. They assumed that Earth's primitive defenses would crumble under their superior firepower. What they didn't anticipate was just how wrong they were. Back in Eldridge, life seemed normal, until the tremors began. At first, no one paid much attention. Small earthquakes weren't uncommon in the area, and most residents shrugged it off as another minor shake. But then strange things started happening. Lights flickered unpredictably, even in places where power outages rarely occurred. Compasses spun wildly, unable to find north, and there was a sound. A low, resonant hum that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but it grew louder with each passing hour. By midnight, the entire town was awake, staring out their windows in confusion and fear. Scientists around the world scrambled to explain the phenomena. Seismologists detected unusual activity deep within the Earth's crust, while astronomers reported bizarre disturbances in the upper atmosphere. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire on social media, with some claiming it was a government experiment gone wrong, while others insisted it was proof of extraterrestrial life. Governments issued vague statements urging calm, but panic began to ripple through populations worldwide. In Eldridge, people huddled together in their homes praying for answers, or at least for the strange occurrences to stop. As dawn approached, the tension reached a breaking point. Just after sunrise, the sky above Eldridge began to change. A faint crack appeared high in the atmosphere, glowing with an eerie bluish light. At first it looked like a streak of lightning frozen in place, but it quickly widened, splitting the heavens apart. Gasps erupted from those watching below as massive shapes emerged from the tear in the sky. Enormous star destroyers descended slowly, their metallic surfaces gleaming ominously in the morning sun. Each ship was larger than any city on Earth, bristling with weapons and humming with energy. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. News of the alien ships spread instantly. Social media platforms lit up with videos and photos captured by stunned witnesses. Within minutes, live broadcasts showed similar scenes unfolding across the globe. Cities froze as people poured into the streets, pointing upward in shock and disbelief. The Vrin had finally revealed themselves, and their message was clear. Humanity was now under their control. But the Vrin underestimated one crucial aspect of human nature: the refusal to give up without a fight. While many stood paralyzed, with fear others sprang into action. Military bases around the world went on high alert, activating long-dormant defense systems designed for scenarios exactly like this. In Washington, D.C., emergency meetings convened at the Pentagon, where top officials worked tirelessly to coordinate a response. Scientists and engineers raced against time to adapt existing technologies for use against the invaders. Even ordinary citizens banded together, organizing community groups to share information and prepare for whatever came next. In Eldridge, Colonel Sarah Mitchell, a decorated officer stationed nearby, took charge of local efforts. She rallied volunteers, setting up communication networks and distributing supplies. Her calm demeanor and decisive leadership inspired confidence in the frightened townsfolk. "We don't know what they want yet," she told a crowd gathered in the town square, "but we do know one thing: they picked the wrong planet to mess with." Meanwhile, the Vryn monitored Earth's reaction with growing unease. From their perspective, humanity should have surrendered immediately. After all, they possessed weapons capable of obliterating entire continents. Yet instead of cowering, humans responded with defiance. Orbital platforms armed with experimental energy weapons powered up, targeting the alien fleet. Fighter jets launched coordinated attacks, attempting to disable key systems on the Star Destroyers. Though the Vryn easily repelled these initial assaults, they couldn't ignore the fact that humanity was fighting back harder than expected. As hours turned into days, the situation escalated. Battles raged both in space and on the ground. Major cities became battlegrounds as humans employed guerrilla tactics, using urban environments to their advantage. Cyber attacks disrupted alien communications, forcing the Vryn to rely on slower, less efficient methods of coordination. On the orbital front, Earth's newly unveiled Star Destroyers engaged the alien fleet in dazzling displays of firepower. Explosions lit up the night sky as beams of energy collided, sending shockwaves rippling through the atmosphere. Despite their technological superiority, the Vryn found themselves struggling to maintain the upper hand. Humanity's ingenuity and adaptability proved to be formidable weapons. Improvised traps, clever strategies, and sheer determination turned the tide in several key conflicts. Soldiers from different nations worked side by side, putting aside old rivalries to focus on a common enemy. Civilians joined the effort too, offering shelter, medical aid, and moral support to those on the front lines. Slowly but surely, the aliens realized they had underestimated their opponents. What truly shook the Vryn, however, was the discovery of Earth's secret weapon, not its technology, but its spirit. United under a shared purpose, humanity demonstrated an unbreakable will to survive. Men and women from all walks of life rose to meet the challenge head-on, refusing to let fear dictate their actions. This resilience baffled the Vryn, whose own society valued logic and efficiency above all else. They had never encountered a species so driven by emotion, so willing to sacrifice everything for the greater good. By the end of the first week, the balance of power began to shift. The Vryn leadership convened an emergency meeting aboard their flagship, debating whether to escalate the conflict or withdraw entirely. Some argued for total annihilation, believing humanity's potential threat outweighed the cost of continued warfare. Others, however, pointed out the mounting losses and the unexpected tenacity of their foes. For the first time in their history, doubt crept into their calculations. Unbeknownst to the Vryn, humanity was preparing its next move. Scientists working around the clock managed to decipher fragments of the aliens' communication signals. What they uncovered changed everything. The invasion wasn't motivated by greed or expansionism. It was driven by fear. The Vryn had detected signs of Earth's rapid technological advancement and assumed humanity posed a future threat. In their paranoia, they decided to strike first, hoping to eliminate the problem before it grew insurmountable. Armed with this knowledge, world leaders made a bold decision. Rather than continuing the fight, they chose diplomacy. A global broadcast went out, addressing the Vryn directly. Through carefully translated messages, humanity conveyed its desire for peace, offering proof of its non-aggressive intentions. Satellite images showed hospitals treating wounded alien soldiers, while recordings highlighted acts of kindness toward captured invaders. The message was clear. Despite the violence inflicted upon them, humans sought understanding, not revenge. The Vryn hesitated. Never before had they encountered such a response. Suspicion lingered, but curiosity got the better of them. Tentative negotiations began, facilitated by neutral parties fluent in both languages. After tense discussions lasting several days, the Vryn agreed to withdraw, shaken by the realization that they had misjudged humanity. Their fears, though understandable, had led them down a path of unnecessary destruction. When the last alien ship disappeared beyond the horizon, Earth breathed a collective sigh of relief. The scars of war remained, cities lay in ruins, lives were lost, and economies suffered. But hope prevailed. Humanity emerged stronger, united by a shared experience that transcended borders and cultures. Salvaged alien technology sparked The battle between humanity and the Vryn had begun in earnest. The initial shock of seeing alien star destroyers looming above Earth's atmosphere quickly gave way to action. Across the globe, governments scrambled to respond, activating defense systems that had been designed decades ago for scenarios just like this one. Deep within underground bunkers, military personnel worked around the clock, coordinating strategies and deploying resources. Meanwhile, civilians rallied together, proving that even ordinary people could play a crucial role in humanity's fight for survival. In Eldridge, Colonel Sarah Mitchell became the face of resistance. Her leadership inspired not only her troops, but also the frightened townspeople who looked to her for guidance. Sarah knew they couldn't rely solely on conventional weapons. The Vryn's technology was far too advanced. Instead, she focused on unconventional tactics, guerrilla warfare, sabotage, and psychological operations. She ordered teams to set up decoys in the surrounding forests, using drones equipped with holographic projectors to create illusions of armored vehicles and troop movements. The goal was simple: confuse the enemy and buy time for reinforcements to arrive. The first major engagement occurred near the outskirts of Eldridge. A squadron of Vryn scout ships descended into the valley, scanning the area for signs of human activity. They expected little resistance, a quick sweep followed by data collection before moving on to larger targets. What they found instead was chaos. As soon as the alien ships entered the forested region, explosions erupted from hidden mines planted along their flight path. Smoke grenades billowed thick clouds, obscuring visibility, while loudspeakers blasted distorted recordings of rocket, fire, and tank engines. The Vryn pilots, disoriented and unable to locate the source of the attacks, retreated hastily, reporting back to their commanders about unpredictable human defenses. News of the skirmish spread rapidly. Social media platforms lit up with videos of the battle, showing blurry footage of alien ships retreating under relentless harassment. For the first time since the invasion began, people dared to hope. The message was clear: humanity wasn't going down without a fight. Inspired by Eldridge's success, other communities adopted similar strategies. In urban areas, citizens used tall buildings to launch makeshift projectiles at low-flying alien craft. In rural regions, farmers repurposed farming equipment into crude weapons, turning tractors into mobile barricades and plows into traps. Every corner of the planet buzzed with activity as humans adapted to the threat. But the Vryn weren't idle either. Recognizing the need to regain control, they launched a massive counteroffensive. Dozens of star destroyers descended closer to Earth's surface, unleashing devastating barrages of energy beams and plasma cannons. Entire cities were reduced to rubble in seconds, leaving millions homeless and countless lives lost. The scale of destruction horrified even seasoned military analysts. Yet amidst the devastation, something remarkable happened. Humanity's resolve hardened. Survivors banded together, forming tight-knit groups determined to resist the invaders. Makeshift shelters sprang up in ruins, and supply lines were established through secret networks of volunteers. One such group emerged in Chicago, led by a former engineer named Marcus Chen. Before the invasion, Marcus had spent years designing renewable energy systems. Now he turned his expertise toward creating anti-gravity disruptors, devices capable of interfering with the propulsion systems of Vryn ships. Working out of a basement workshop powered by salvaged solar panels, Marcus assembled a team of engineers, scientists, and hobbyists. Together, they reverse-engineered fragments of alien technology recovered from downed scout ships. Within days, they produced a prototype disruptor small enough to fit inside a backpack. Dubbed the Gravity Hammer, it became a game-changer in urban combat zones. Marcus's invention saw its first test during a brutal assault on downtown Chicago. A swarm of Vryn attack drones descended upon the city, targeting survivors holed up in skyscrapers. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, Marcus and his team deployed the gravity hammers. Activating the devices sent pulses of electromagnetic interference rippling through the air, causing several drones to plummet to the ground. Encouraged by the success, Marcus distributed more hammers to resistance fighters across the country. News of the device reached international ears, sparking collaborations between rebel groups worldwide. Engineers in Japan improved the design, adding longer battery life, while hackers in Germany developed software to hack into Vryn communication frequencies. Slowly but surely, humanity began leveling the playing field. While battles raged on the ground, an equally fierce conflict unfolded in space. Orbital platforms, once intended for satellite maintenance and asteroid defense, were retrofitted into weapons of war. These platforms, armed with experimental particle accelerators and laser arrays, targeted the Vryn fleet hovering beyond Earth's atmosphere. Pilots stationed aboard the platforms risked everything, knowing that failure meant certain death. Among them was Captain Elena Rodriguez, a decorated astronaut whose calm demeanor masked a fierce determination to protect her home. Elena's mission was straightforward yet perilous: disable the main reactor core of a Vryn star destroyer. Accompanied by a small crew, she piloted a heavily modified spacecraft toward the alien vessel, dodging volleys of plasma fire along the way. The closer they got, the more intense the resistance became. Shields flickered dangerously low as Elena maneuvered her ship into position, timing her approach perfectly with a salvo from Earth's orbital defenses. With seconds to spare, she launched a harpoon-like projectile tipped with an EMP charge directly into the Star Destroyer's hull. The resulting explosion crippled the ship, forcing it to retreat into deep space. Back on Earth, news of Elena's victory boosted morale. Broadcasts highlighting her bravery inspired others to take greater risks. Fighter jets launched coordinated assaults on smaller alien vessels, drawing them away from civilian populations. Naval fleets patrolled coastal waters, intercepting supply drops intended for Vryn ground forces. Even private citizens contributed, modifying personal aircraft to serve as reconnaissance tools or decoys. Humanity's ingenuity knew no bounds. Yet despite these successes, the toll of the war weighed heavily on everyone involved. Soldiers returned from missions physically and emotionally scarred, haunted by memories of fallen comrades. Civilians endured unimaginable hardships, scavenging for food and shelter amid the ruins of their homes. Children grew up too fast, learning to survive in a world where danger lurked around every corner. Despite the darkness, however, moments of light pierced through. Strangers shared what little they had, forming bonds stronger than blood. Communities came together to rebuild, brick by brick, refusing to let despair consume them. Amidst the chaos, a breakthrough occurred that would alter the course of the conflict. A team of linguists and cryptographers working in a secure facility in Switzerland finally cracked part of the Vryn's communication code. By analyzing intercepted transmissions, they pieced together fragments of the aliens' language and discovered key insights into their motivations. It turned out the Vryn hadn't invaded Earth out of malice or greed. They acted out of fear. Their leaders believed humanity's rapid technological advancements posed an existential threat to their empire. Convinced that waiting would only make matters worse, they decided to strike preemptively. This revelation stunned global leaders. For weeks, debates raged over how to respond. Some advocated for escalating the war, arguing that mercy would be seen as weakness. Others pushed for diplomacy, believing that mutual understanding could end the bloodshed. Ultimately, a compromise was reached. Humanity would extend an olive branch, but not without safeguards. Preparations for peace talks began immediately, with negotiators drafting messages that conveyed both strength and goodwill. Satellite images showed hospitals treating wounded Vryn soldiers, while recordings highlighted acts of kindness toward captured invaders. The message was clear. Despite the violence inflicted upon them, humans sought understanding, not revenge. When the proposal reached the Vrin command, skepticism reigned supreme. Many dismissed it as a ploy, a trick to lull them into complacency, but others, particularly those who had witnessed humanity's resilience firsthand, argued for caution. They pointed out the mounting losses and the unexpected tenacity of their foes. For the first time in their history, doubt crept into their calculations. After tense deliberations lasting several days, the Vrin agreed to tentative negotiations, facilitated by neutral parties fluent in both languages. As representatives from Earth and the Vrin met aboard a neutral space station, tensions ran high. Each side eyed the other warily, unsure whether trust could ever be established. Yet, as discussions progressed, common ground emerged. Both civilizations valued survival and progress, though their methods differed vastly. Slowly, painfully, agreements took shape. The Vrin promised to withdraw their forces, while humanity vowed to limit its expansion into space until proper safeguards were in place. Mutual observation programs were proposed, allowing each side to monitor the other without hostility. By Q. The time the treaty was signed, exhaustion permeated both camps. For humanity, the cost had been. The negotiations between humanity and the Vrin marked a turning point in the conflict, but it wasn't an easy road. Both sides approached the talks with suspicion, their actions tempered by fear and mistrust. For humanity, the stakes were higher than ever before. Not only was survival on the line, but also the chance to prove that they were more than just a primitive species capable of war. The Vrin, too, faced internal struggles. Their empire had never encountered a foe as resilient or unpredictable as humans, and this realization shook them to their core. The neutral space station where the talks took place was a marvel of engineering. A floating structure designed to accommodate both human and alien physiology. Its walls glowed faintly with bioluminescent panels, providing light without overwhelming either species' senses. The air was carefully regulated, blending oxygen-rich atmospheres for humans with trace gases suitable for the Vrin. Despite these accommodations, tension crackled in every corner of the station. Humans wore sleek exosuits equipped with translation devices, while the Vrin representatives arrived in shimmering metallic armor that seemed almost alive, shifting colors like liquid mercury. At the heart of the delegation was Ambassador Clara Hayes, a seasoned diplomat known for her calm demeanor and razor-sharp intellect. She had spent years negotiating peace treaties between warring nations, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment. Facing her across the table was Commander Zinthar, the leader of the Vrin fleet. His elongated frame loomed over the room, his 6 limbs moving with unsettling precision. His voice, when translated, carried an eerie monotone, devoid of emotion, yet laced with authority. The first session began with formal introductions, but it quickly devolved into accusations. Zinthar accused humanity of reckless ambition, citing their rapid technological advancements as proof that they posed a future threat to galactic stability. Clara countered with evidence of Earth's peaceful intentions, highlighting decades of efforts toward environmental conservation, humanitarian aid, and scientific collaboration. "We are not invaders," she said firmly, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We fight because we must, not because we want to." Zinthar tilted his head slightly, a gesture interpreted by human observers as curiosity. He signaled to one of his aides, who projected holographic images onto the table. These depicted intercepted communications from Earth's military leaders, discussing contingency plans for colonizing other planets. "You speak of peace," Zinthar said through the translator. "But your own records reveal ambitions beyond your world. How can we trust you?" Clara hesitated for a fraction of a second, then leaned forward. "Ambition is not aggression," she replied. "Yes, we dream of exploring the stars, but exploration does not mean conquest. If fear of our potential led you to attack us, then perhaps understanding our true nature will convince you otherwise." Her words hung heavy in the air, prompting murmurs among the Vrin delegation. As days passed, the negotiations grew more intense. Each side presented arguments backed by data, simulations, and historical precedents. Human scientists explained how their recent breakthroughs in renewable energy and medicine benefited society, while Vrin engineers demonstrated the defensive capabilities of their star destroyers, emphasizing their role as guardians rather than conquerors. It became clear that both civilizations shared common goals: survival, progress, and prosperity. But their methods differed drastically. One breakthrough came unexpectedly during a recess. While walking through the observation deck, Clara noticed Zinthar standing alone, staring out at the vast expanse of space. Curiosity got the better of her, and she approached cautiously. "May I join you?" she asked, using the universal sign for permission. A raised hand, with fingers spread, wide. Zinthar turned slowly, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the distant stars. After a pause, he nodded. They stood in silence for several minutes before Clara spoke again. "Why did you come here?" she asked softly. "Not the official reason, the real one." For the first time since the talks began, Zinthar showed vulnerability. His voice trembled slightly as he responded. "Because we were afraid. Afraid of what you might become. Our history is filled with civilizations that rose too quickly, consumed everything around them, and then collapsed. We thought we could stop that cycle." Clara listened intently, her expression softening. "Fear blinds us all sometimes," she said gently. "But fear doesn't have to dictate our actions. Look at what we've accomplished. Together already, finding common ground despite everything. That's strength, not weakness." Their conversation marked a shift in the tone of the negotiations. Over the next few sessions, both sides adopted a more collaborative approach. Instead of focusing solely on blame, they explored solutions. Proposals included joint research initiatives to study sustainable technologies, cultural exchange programs to foster mutual understanding, and shared monitoring systems to ensure neither side violated the terms of the treaty. Back on Earth, news of the ongoing talks brought mixed reactions. Some celebrated the possibility of peace, while others remained skeptical, fearing another betrayal. In Eldridge, Colonel Sarah Mitchell continued organizing local resistance efforts, though now with a new directive: prepare for coexistence instead of annihilation. She addressed a gathering of townsfolk, explaining the delicate balance humanity needed to strike. "Peace isn't surrender," she told them. "It's a choice, a hard one, yes, but one that gives us a chance to rebuild and grow stronger." Meanwhile, Marcus Chen's team worked tirelessly to refine the gravity hammer technology. Realizing its potential applications extended beyond warfare, they adapted it for civilian use, creating portable devices capable of stabilizing crumbling infrastructure damaged during the invasion. When deployed in disaster zones, the modified hammers prevented buildings from collapsing, saving countless lives. News outlets dubbed Marcus a hero, though he humbly deflected praise, insisting he was simply doing his part. In orbit, Captain Elena Rodriguez led missions to secure abandoned Vrin ships left behind after their retreat. Salvaging these vessels provided humanity with invaluable insights into alien engineering, accelerating advancements in fields ranging from propulsion systems to medical treatments. One particularly significant discovery involved a self-healing alloy used in the ship's hulls. Scientists theorized it could revolutionize construction materials back on Earth, making structures safer and more durable. Despite these achievements, challenges persisted. Many regions still struggled to recover from the devastation caused by the invasion. Refugee camps overflowed with displaced families, and food shortages plagued areas hit hardest by the fighting. In response, grassroots movements sprang up worldwide, driven by ordinary citizens determined to help those in need. Volunteers organized supply drives, built temporary shelters, and offered emotional support to survivors grappling with trauma. Among these volunteers was a young woman named Priya Patel who had lost her parents during an early Vrin assault on Mumbai. Determined to honor their memory, She founded a non-profit organization dedicated to rebuilding schools destroyed in the war. Her efforts inspired thousands to contribute, transforming ruined classrooms into vibrant centers of learning once again. Priya often reminded her team that education was humanity's greatest weapon against ignorance, and ultimately against fear itself. As weeks turned into months, the tentative peace held firm. The Vryn withdrew their remaining forces, retreating to a safe distance beyond Earth's solar system. In return, humanity agreed to implement stricter regulations on space exploration, ensuring their activities wouldn't provoke further conflict. Joint observation posts were established along key orbital paths, staffed by representatives from both species. These stations served as symbols of cooperation, reminding everyone involved of the fragile yet hopeful relationship they had forged. Yet, even as life began returning to normal, or at least as close to normal as possible, questions lingered. What did the future hold for humanity now that they knew they weren't alone in the universe? Would their newfound alliance with the Vryn endure, or would old fears resurface? And most importantly, how could they ensure that the lessons learned from this crisis wouldn't be forgotten? Answers wouldn't come overnight, but humanity faced them with determination. Leaders from around the globe convened summits to discuss long-term strategies for interstellar diplomacy. Scientists collaborated on projects aimed at bridging the gap between species, exploring ways to communicate not just linguistically but emotionally. Artists created works inspired by the invasion, capturing both the horrors of war and the triumphs of unity. Through art, music, and storytelling, they preserved the memories of those who fought and fell, ensuring their sacrifices wouldn't fade into obscurity. In Eldridge, Colonel Sarah Mitchell reflected on the journey her town, and indeed the entire planet, had endured. Standing atop a hill overlooking the valley, she watched as children played beneath a clear blue sky. The scars of battle remained visible in the landscape, but so too did signs of renewal. New homes were being built, crops planted, and laughter echoing once again. For Sarah, it was proof that no matter how dark things became, humanity always found a way to rise above. Far abe. Months had passed since the Vryn withdrew from Earth, leaving behind a planet forever changed by their invasion. The scars of war were visible everywhere, cities reduced to rubble, landscapes scarred by battles, and families torn apart by loss. Yet, amidst the devastation, humanity clung to hope. The fragile peace treaty with the Vryn represented not just survival, but an opportunity to redefine what it meant to be human, in a universe far larger than anyone had imagined. For many, life began to settle into a new rhythm. Reconstruction. Efforts gained momentum as governments, private organizations, and ordinary citizens worked together to rebuild shattered communities. In Eldridge, Colonel Sarah Mitchell spearheaded initiatives to restore the town's infrastructure. With funding from international aid programs and salvaged alien technology, roads were repaved, schools reopened, and power grids upgraded. Solar panels harvested energy more efficiently, thanks to reverse-engineered Vryn designs, while gravity disruptors originally created for warfare were repurposed to stabilize collapsing buildings. What had once been a quiet valley was now a symbol of resilience, a testament to humanity's ability to adapt and thrive even after unimaginable hardship. But rebuilding wasn't just about physical structures. It was also about healing wounds that couldn't be seen. Mental health professionals traveled across the globe, offering counseling to those traumatized by the invasion. Support groups formed in every corner of the planet, bringing survivors together to share their stories and find solace in shared experiences. Priya Patel, whose non-profit organization had already rebuilt dozens of schools, expanded her mission to include mental wellness programs for children affected by the war. She believed that nurturing young minds was key to ensuring a brighter future, one where fear wouldn't dictate humanity's choices. As Reconstruction progressed, so too did humanity's understanding of the Vryn. Joint research teams composed of scientists from both species worked tirelessly to decode alien technologies and unravel the mysteries of their culture. One breakthrough came when researchers discovered how the Vryn communicated, not just through spoken language, but through intricate patterns of light emitted by their skin. This revelation opened doors to deeper interactions, allowing humans to speak directly with their former enemies using specialized devices that mimicked these bioluminescent signals. Ambassador Clara Hayes played a pivotal role in fostering this new era of cooperation. Her diplomatic skills earned her widespread admiration, and she became a bridge between the two civilizations. Under her guidance, Earth established its first embassy for extraterrestrial relations, a massive dome-shaped structure located near Geneva, Switzerland. Inside, holographic displays showcased artifacts from both cultures, highlighting their similarities and differences. There was a section dedicated to the war itself, featuring testimonials from soldiers, civilians, and even captured Vrin officers who expressed regret over the invasion. It was a place of reflection, designed to remind everyone of the cost of conflict and the value of peace. Meanwhile, Captain Elena Rodriguez continued leading missions in space, exploring abandoned Vrin ships and cataloging their secrets. Each discovery brought humanity closer to unlocking the full potential of alien technology. One particularly groundbreaking find involved a device capable of manipulating quantum fields, effectively bending the fabric of space-time. Scientists theorized it could revolutionize travel, enabling journeys to distant stars within weeks instead of centuries. However, ethical debates erupted over whether such powerful tools should ever be used, given the risks they posed if mismanaged. Elena found herself caught between excitement and caution, advocating for responsible experimentation while warning against rushing into unknown territory. On the ground, Marcus Chen's gravity hammer project evolved into something far greater than he'd envisioned. His team collaborated with engineers from around the world to develop civilian applications for the technology. Portable versions of the device were distributed to disaster zones, helping stabilize collapsing bridges and prevent landslides. Hospitals adopted modified versions to assist in delicate surgeries, creating stable environments for procedures that required absolute precision. Marcus often joked that his invention had gone from a weapon of war to a tool of creation, an ironic twist that made him proud. Yet despite these advancements, tensions lingered beneath the surface. Not everyone trusted the Vrin. Conspiracy theories flourished online, fueled by those who believed the aliens harbored ulterior motives. Some argued that the withdrawal was merely a temporary measure, giving the Vrin time to regroup before launching another attack. Others accused global leaders of prioritizing interstellar diplomacy at the expense of addressing domestic issues. Protests erupted in major cities, with demonstrators demanding answers and accountability. In response, governments launched public awareness campaigns aimed at dispelling misinformation. Experts appeared on television and social media, explaining the safeguards built into the peace treaty and emphasizing the benefits of collaboration. Space agencies released live feeds from joint observation posts, showing real-time footage of Vrin ships maintaining their distance. These efforts helped quell some fears, but skepticism remained entrenched in certain circles. Back in Eldridge, Sarah Mitchell faced her own challenges. While most residents supported her leadership, a small faction accused her of being too lenient toward the Vrin. They demanded stricter measures to protect the town, including fortifying defenses and stockpiling weapons. Sarah listened patiently to their concerns, acknowledging the need for vigilance without compromising the spirit of cooperation. "We've come too far to let fear divide us again," she told them during a heated town hall meeting. "Yes, we must remain cautious, but we cannot allow paranoia to undo everything we've fought for." Her words resonated with many, though not all. Among those swayed was Thomas Carter, a retired soldier who had initially opposed any form of alliance with the Vrin. After volunteering with Priya's nonprofit, he witnessed firsthand the transformative power of unity. Inspired by the resilience of the children he met, Thomas decided to dedicate his remaining years to promoting peace. He joined Sarah's advisory council, becoming a vocal advocate for coexistence. As humanity adapted to its new reality, cultural exchange programs blossomed, fostering mutual understanding between species. Artists, musicians, and writers collaborated on projects blending human creativity with Vrin aesthetics. Galleries displayed paintings that combined vibrant colors with shimmering light patterns, while concerts featured orchestras playing instruments, inspired by alien harmonics. Literature explored themes of identity, belonging, and the shared quest for knowledge, transcending barriers of language and biology. One particularly moving piece of art emerged from a partnership between a human sculptor named Maria Alvarez and a Vrin artisan called Virkal. Together, they created a towering monument titled Unity Rising, depicting intertwined figures reaching skyward. Made from a fusion of earthly materials and alien alloys, the sculpture stood outside the Geneva Embassy, serving as a permanent reminder of the bond forged through adversity. Despite these strides, questions about humanity's place in the cosmos persisted. Philosophers debated whether encountering the Vrin marked the beginning of a golden age or the end of innocence. Religious leaders grappled with theological implications, reinterpreting ancient texts to account for life beyond Earth. Educators rewrote curricula to include lessons on galactic history, preparing future generations for a world where borders extended beyond planets. Amidst these changes, Commander Zinthar reflected on his role in reshaping the relationship between the Vrin and humanity. Back on his homeworld, opinions were divided. Some praised his decision to negotiate, crediting him with averting further bloodshed. Others criticized him for showing weakness, arguing that humanity's rapid recovery proved they were still a threat. Zinthar ignored the detractors, focusing instead on the progress achieved through dialogue. He often visited Earth aboard a diplomatic vessel, touring cities and speaking with ordinary citizens. Their determination to rebuild and learn filled him with admiration and a sense of responsibility to ensure the alliance endured. By the end of the year, the tentative peace showed signs of solidifying. Trade agreements facilitated the exchange of resources and ideas, benefiting both civilizations. Medical breakthroughs saved lives on both sides, while environmental projects tackled shared challenges like climate change and resource depletion. Humanity's entry into the galactic stage was no longer a matter of speculation. It was a reality. And yet the journey was far from over. Challenges lay ahead, from managing growing populations to navigating ethical dilemmas posed by advanced technology. But for the first time in history, humanity faced these trials not alone but alongside another species. The road would be long and fraught with uncertainty, but hope burned brightly in the hearts of those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. As the sun set over Eldridge, casting golden hues across the valley, Sarah Mitchell stood atop the hill once more. Below her, lights twinkled in the distance, signaling the return of life to a town once ravaged by war. Above her, stars glitter. Years had passed since the Vrin invasion, and humanity found itself standing at the dawn of a new era. The scars of war still lingered, both on the planet and in people's hearts, but they served as reminders of how far humanity had come. What had begun as a desperate struggle for survival had evolved into an unprecedented opportunity for growth, discovery, and unity. The fragile peace treaty with the Vrin had blossomed into something stronger, a partnership built on mutual respect, shared goals, and the unshakable belief that coexistence was possible. In Eldridge, life had transformed almost beyond recognition. Once a sleepy town nestled in a quiet valley, it now stood as a beacon of progress, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Colonel Sarah Mitchell watched proudly as her community thrived, its streets alive with laughter, commerce, and innovation. New schools equipped with cutting-edge technology welcomed eager students, while research facilities attracted scientists from around the globe. The Gravity Hammer Project, originally conceived by Marcus Chen, had grown into a global initiative, producing tools that revolutionized industries ranging from construction to medicine. Even the forests surrounding the town bore signs of renewal, their ecosystems revitalized through eco-friendly technologies inspired by both human and alien designs. But perhaps the most profound change was cultural. Eldridge became a microcosm of the wider world, where diversity wasn't just accepted, it was celebrated. Families hosted exchange programs, welcoming Vrin delegates into their homes to foster understanding between species. Art galleries showcased collaborative works, blending human creativity with Vryn aesthetics. Music festivals featured performances combining traditional instruments with alien harmonics, creating melodies that resonated across species. It was a place where differences weren't feared but embraced, proving that unity didn't mean uniformity. It meant strength through variety. Across the globe, similar transformations were taking place. Cities once devastated by the invasion rose again, reborn with sustainable architecture and advanced infrastructure. In Mumbai, Priya Patel's nonprofit organization continued to expand, rebuilding not only schools, but entire neighborhoods. Her efforts inspired others to join the cause, sparking a grassroots movement dedicated to uplifting marginalized communities. Refugee camps gave way to thriving settlements, where survivors rebuilt their lives with dignity and purpose. Mental health initiatives flourished, helping people heal from trauma and find meaning in their shared experiences. The collaboration extended beyond Earth's atmosphere. Joint observation posts stationed throughout the solar system monitored activity, ensuring neither side violated the terms of the treaty. Scientists aboard these stations worked side by side, sharing knowledge and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. One breakthrough came when researchers successfully adapted Vryn bioluminescent communication methods for human use. Devices capable of emitting light-based signals allowed humans to speak directly with Vryn counterparts, deepening interactions and fostering trust. These advancements paved the way for more ambitious projects, including plans to construct a joint colony on Mars, a symbol of cooperation that transcended planetary borders. Captain Elena Rodriguez remained at the forefront of space exploration, leading missions that ventured farther than ever before. Salvaged Vryn ships provided invaluable insights into interstellar travel, enabling humanity to explore regions of the galaxy previously thought unreachable. Quantum manipulation devices unlocked possibilities once confined to science fiction, reducing journey times from decades to mere weeks. Under Elena's leadership, teams mapped uncharted star systems, discovering planets teeming with potential resources, and even hints of other intelligent life. Each discovery brought humanity closer to answering age-old questions. Are we alone? And if not, what role do we play in this vast universe? Yet, despite these achievements, challenges persisted. Not everyone embraced the new reality. Skeptics argued that humanity had grown too dependent on alien technology, warning of unforeseen consequences. Others feared that the Vryn alliance masked deeper dangers, pointing to inconsistencies in their behavior during negotiations. Conspiracy theories gained traction online, fueled by fringe groups convinced that Earth was walking blindly into another trap. Protests erupted sporadically, demanding stricter oversight and transparency. Governments responded with education campaigns, emphasizing the safeguards built into the treaty and showcasing the tangible benefits of collaboration. Space agencies released live footage of ongoing projects, inviting citizens to witness the fruits of cooperation firsthand. Public forums allowed skeptics to voice concerns, fostering open dialogue rather than division. While not all fears could be assuaged, these efforts helped maintain stability, ensuring that progress wasn't derailed by paranoia. Ambassador Clara Hayes played a crucial role in navigating these complexities. Her diplomatic skills earned her widespread admiration, making her a trusted figure on both sides of the alliance. Under her guidance, Earth established embassies on Vryn worlds, promoting cross-cultural exchanges and addressing grievances before they escalated. She often reminded her colleagues that peace wasn't static. It required constant effort, compromise, and empathy. "We are building bridges," she said during one speech, "not walls." Back in Eldridge, Sarah Mitchell faced her own hurdles. Though most residents supported her vision, opposition occasionally flared up. Some demanded stricter measures to protect the town, urging caution against relying too heavily on alien goodwill. Sarah listened patiently, acknowledging valid concerns, while reaffirming her commitment to cooperation. "Fear is natural," she told them during a town meeting, "but it cannot dictate our choices. We've proven we can stand together, even against impossible odds. Let's keep moving forward, not backward." Her words resonated deeply, especially with younger generations who grew up knowing no other reality than one shaped by collaboration. Children learned about the Vryn in school, studying their history, culture, and contributions to modern society. They dreamed of becoming astronauts, scientists, or diplomats, eager to explore the stars and forge connections with other civilizations. For them, the sky was no longer a limit, it was an invitation. Commander Zinthar, too, reflected on the journey his people had undertaken. Back on his homeworld, opinions remained divided. Critics accused him of compromising the Empire's security, while supporters hailed him as a visionary leader. Despite the backlash, Zinthar remained steadfast in his belief that humanity represented something extraordinary, a species capable of rising above fear and hatred to embrace hope and understanding. He visited Earth frequently, marveling at the progress achieved through unity. Each trip reinforced his conviction that the alliance was worth fighting for, not just for today, but for future generations. As time passed, humanity's relationship with the Vryn deepened. Trade agreements facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and expertise, benefiting both civilizations. Medical breakthroughs saved lives on both sides, while environmental projects tackled shared challenges like climate change and resource depletion. Humanity's entry into the galactic stage marked the beginning of a golden age, characterized by innovation, compassion, and boundless curiosity. And yet, the story was far from over. Questions about humanity's place in the cosmos lingered, inspiring philosophers, theologians, and scientists alike. Educators rewrote curricula to include lessons on galactic history, preparing students for a world without borders. Artists envisioned futures where countless species coexisted peacefully, their creations serving as blueprints for what might be. One such artist was Maria Alvarez, whose collaboration with Virkal had produced the iconic monument, Unity Rising. Together, they embarked on new projects, blending human craftsmanship with alien precision. Their latest creation, a floating sculpture titled Horizon Eternal, orbited Earth, visible from nearly every corner of the planet. Made from materials sourced from both worlds, it symbolized humanity's endless quest for knowledge and connection. As the years rolled on, humanity stepped boldly into the unknown. Expeditions ventured farther into the galaxy, establishing contact with other intelligent species. Diplomatic treaties expanded, creating networks of alliances that spanned light years. Technology continued to evolve, transforming daily life in ways unimaginable just decades earlier. Yet, amidst all the change, certain truths endured. Courage, ingenuity, and unity remained humanity's greatest strengths. On a cool autumn evening, Sarah Mitchell climbed the hill overlooking Eldridge one last time. Now retired, she reflected on the journey that had brought her, and humanity, to this moment. Below her, lights twinkled in the distance, signaling the vitality of a town reborn. Above her, stars glittered in the night sky, each one a promise of adventures yet to come. For Sarah, the future was unwritten, shaped not by fear but by hope. Whatever lay ahead, challenges, triumphs, or discoveries, humanity would face it together. The road would be long and uncertain, but the destination was clear: a better tomorrow, forged through resilience, compassion, and the unyielding belief that even the smallest spark of courage could light up the darkest corners of the universe.